had to do a lot with how Pfizer, manufactured that vaccine. They won't attribute most of it to Africans.
We must develop human capacity in these areas of science. It's very, very important. Because a pandemic has happened now, it can happen again.
Other discussants urged the youth to be creative, think out of the box, prefer solutions to hidden and obvious problems, as well as to embrace entrepreneurship.
I know in Africa, most of the solution, people expect it to come from the government. But we'll look at all the industrial nations and we'll see that it was actually tackled by communities, by individuals.
The Director General, Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, CBAC, Oluwabumi Amao, says the body is motivated more than ever to preserve and promote Africa's diverse cultural heritage.
They should start looking inward. We have a lot of things to give our children for them to grow properly. We have a lot of things to teach them.
CBAC was established in 1979, following the successful hosting of FESTAC 77. In Lagos, Awoli Suljibo, NTA News.
And that's a bit from Lagos. We'll go on a short break and thereafter the news continues with Lydia in Abuja.
And thoughtfulness. Bad social media fake news.
Multipurpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710, Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. The Charon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
Do you know that 35% of every girl child and women are raped on a daily basis? Some are killed in the process, some take their lives in shame, others remain emotionally dead for life. It is sad. This culture is not ours, definitely not African. How did we allow bad culture to infiltrate and take over? Even if you lack fear for the law, what of fear of God? And you, why do you cover up rape acts when it happens? Remember, a problem shared is a problem half solved. Never cover any rape act because a rapist is a murderer. It could be you or your loved ones next. Women must be treated like the prize giant they are. Say no to rape.
Done 24 hours a day. NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide a company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, program.
With Go.com.
You're welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. A policy that will ensure equitable sharing of resources along disputed boundaries among affected states in Nigeria can help douse tension and crisis arising from boundary disputes. This was a key proposal dangled before members of boundary committees from north-central states by the National Boundary Commission in Abuja. Calvin Ebonaye reports.
Many states in Nigeria are currently locked in boundary disputes, largely because of natural resources deposits in such areas or simply for landmass control. But if Government Gazette on Boundary Resource Management in Nigeria is secured in agreement with all the parties, a lasting peace can be achieved, a position the National Boundary Commission says it is currently pursuing.
The fiesta seeks to douse tension, correct misinformation and distrust, thereby sealing the cracks associated with the catastrophes in year 2020. FCT Minister of State Ramatu Tijani Aliu emphasized the need for socially and emotionally rewarding events in the last lap of the year to ensure mental ventilation for the people of the Federal Capital Territory.
The Fun Fair is a kind of one-stop shop where everything concerning entertainment, unwinding with friends and families, sit out and taking out children to see, feel and get gifts from Santa Claus in the spirit of the Yuletide season.
This is a very laudable idea. It provides us an opportunity to relax, to unwind and even reflect on the activities through the year.
Comedians like Kenny Black, Chooks the General and MC Fresh were on ground to spice up the day.
Bringing the entertainment back home from where it kind of really started. So I think it's an amazing thing that she's doing.
The Abuja Unity Fiesta 2020 is expected to affect positively the emotional minds of some of the stakeholders in the FCT, unite the people more, and present a beautiful environment with adequate security to unwind, feel, and experience.
Thank you, Lydia. Thanks for joining us. The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has reiterated its commitment towards ensuring effective and efficient.
The initiative seeks to cushion the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on food security.
$1 billion have been earmarked by the African Union Development Agency to help smallholder farmers on the continent recover from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, as well as boost farming activities and household income within the next 10 years. Nigeria has been considered to pilot the agricultural initiative as many states pledged to provide land and counterpart funding.
For us in Kwara State, we will try and showcase that we make the best of as a pilot project for Africa.
The required land with their coordinates is there.
State government.
His 9-point agenda.
This NAPED program is very important to the development of agriculture in Nigeria and Africa.
The guest suggests stiffer penalties on violators of COVID-19 protocols, particularly those traveling into the country without following the necessary laid-down rules.
People coming don't turn out for the test, and
Rivers have 15, Sokoto 10, Enugu 9, Gombe 8, Plateau and Osun 7 each, Anambra and Oyo 5, Jigawa and Ogun confirmed 4 cases each, Bauchi has 2 cases while Edo confirmed 1. Lagos leads total number of cases per state with 24,104, while the FCT follows with 7,536 cases. Plateau has 3,921. Jos Network Center is next on our port of call, and Zinret is our guide. Zinret, hello.
Hello, Lydia. Thanks for joining us in Jos. To reduce the scourge of unemployment and uplift the economic standard of youth and women in Plateau State, the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, and the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs is providing 350 participants with basic business training. Representatives from the Secretariat Jos. River Sylvanus Lot has details.
The 5 days training is to teach participants the basic principles of business in Nigeria. State Coordinator NDE stressed the importance of such collaborations, noting that such opportunities, if taken seriously, can be life-transforming.
Agri-business is enough to accommodate every one of you. If you are able to develop your business very well, I assure you that you access this law. To tell you is sit up. Let us also be agrarian in farming and other things.
Between 1 to 10 million naira will be given as loans to eventually qualified participants, pending on one's ability to present and defend a good business proposal. In Jos, Rinret Sylvanus Lot, NTA News.
To effectively address gender-based violence, which has been on the increase in recent time, there is need for traditional rulers to speak and stand as advocates to curb the menace in the society. This key role was defined when the National Human Rights Commission in Plateau State paid homage to the Bongom Jos, that His Royal Majesty, Da Jacob Gyang Buba. Kim Gotts reports that this visit is part of the Commission's 16 days of activism.
With the increasing cases and tendencies of physical, sexual, and psychological violence against women, the role of traditional rulers has been underscored in terms of educating and creating awareness in rural communities. Leader of the delegation and Director, National Human Rights Commission, Plateau State, Veronica Abbe, in company of other sister organizations, seek to solicit the collaboration and support of the Royal Father, Da Jacob Gyang Buba, in stemming the harmful gender-based practices and other forms of sexual violence against women.
Create greater awareness in our communities
about the impact of all forms of sexual violence against women and children. Work actively to change attitudes and practices that perpetuate these crimes in homes,
workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Life can be very eventful. We curiously expect things to happen, even when we don't know what. Our human nature makes us like and repost lots of information. Sometimes innocently, other times the urge to break it first. This, in most cases, has caused destruction in many nations.
DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
StarTimes channel 101, and Free TV channel 703. Join us.
We regret to announce the death of our beloved father, Alhaji Muhammadu Kazura. Before he died, he was the Wakili of the district head of Kazura, Birniwa local government area of Jigawa State. He died on Wednesday, 25th November 2020, after a brief illness and has since been buried according to Islamic rites. Alhaji Abbas Muhammad Kazura, announcer.
Newcastle United had their game called off last week. Will they be able to bounce back with a win when they welcome West Bromwich Albion to St James's Park? Find out this Saturday when Newcastle United hosts West Bromwich Albion on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Access Bank, Papa Ijebu, Lipton Tea, and Close Up in association with Gold.com.
Thanks for staying on to Nationwide. Enugu is next and Susan is our guide.
Thank you and welcome to Enugu Network Center. To draw citizens' input into government's budget and planning, the Enugu State government has organized a one-day public engagement on the 2021 draft budget. Deputy Governor Cecilia Ezilo said the idea of citizens' participation in budgeting is in line with the Open Government Partnership Initiative. Correspondent has details.
And desires of the different communities in Enugu State. Meanwhile, the 2020 appropriation bill was revised from 169 billion naira to 146 billion, a decline of 13.6% due to the changes in the macroeconomic assumptions of the 2020 budget. In Enugu,
about 775 registered rice farmers under Adani irrigation project with 7 sectors are on the verge of being shot into limelight, thereby addressing the issue of unprecedented hardship on average Nigerians, as rehabilitation of about 1,120 hectares of land has begun on Adani irrigation project. Comfort IM also reports that this is even as the federal government has promised to address other challenges confronting rice farmers in the southeast, lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by the year 2030.
High yield and double crop is confronting them, with borders on slippage and spillages, blockages of canal, total collapse of cross drainages at the main canal, lack of adequate.
That's our contribution from Enugu. Nationwide continues in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Susan. Sports Update is next.
Welcome to Sports Update. I am Tamara Ebiwe. We'll begin with cricket, where the Nigeria Cricket Federation says the task before the newly appointed national team head coach is to focus on grassroots players as well as in the area of their development. Presenting the coach to the public on Tuesday in Abuja, the Federation is optimistic that Ashanka will bring in his wealth of experience to bear to place the country on the world map.
This generation doesn't follow orders. They have their own thinking, and it's important to fine-tune them and get them to understand and support them and open their mind to play a natural game.
Ashanka Gurushinha is a former Sri Lanka $1 million. The 2021 Champions League is already in progress, and teams have already secured their passage into the first round. Still talking money, Nigeria-born British boxer Anthony Joshua will earn less than his initial purse during his bout with Bulgarian Kubrat Pulev after missing out of an £8 million gate fee. Both fighters were initially scheduled for 62,000-seater Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. Joshua will be hoping to defeat Pulev and set up a money-spinning heavyweight unification fight with Tyson Fury in 2021. That's all on Sports Update. I am Tamara Ebiwe.
As we conclude nationwide, we also bring you NTS message against rape and rapists. Have a wonderful evening. I am Lydia Ojiji. Goodbye.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when
Cherry Hills have numerous high peaks with the highest reaching a height of about 1,829 meters above sea level. The Cherry Hills are at the highest point of the Jos Plateau, and they form third highest point in Nigeria after Chabal Wadi on the Mambila Plateau. Cherry Hill.
In areas, cuffing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube.
Human behavior is the potential and expressed internal and external stimuli throughout their lifetime. Behavior is also driven in part by thoughts and feelings which provide insight into an individual's psyche, thus revealing attitudes and values. A famous philosopher, Plato, says, and volunteers will be taking a look at the rising cases of drug abuse amid the coronavirus pandemic. I am Obiageli Ugoke, and our guest is the President, African Council on Narcotics, Mr. Repene Bassi. You're welcome to Front.
It's my pleasure.
We shall be back in a moment. Stay with us. Our impression is that there is a prevalence in drug abuse during this COVID-19 pandemic. What's your take on that?
Well, my take would be that it is possible, but we can do a reflection of previous statistics, And the last time I checked, the National Bureau of Statistics had carried out a national survey, and it showed that about 14.3% Nigerians of a population of about 260 million, are involved in the abuse of illicit substances. But I think more current, the more current statistics, if surveys are carried out, may reflect higher figures. And the perception is that presently about 15 between age 15 to 62 are involved in the abuse of illicit substances, from alcohol, disconcerting, very disturbing. If you take that a little further, you see a reflection of that in terms of, it affects, sociological consequences.
Lockdown. And you made mention of cases such as rape, other abuses. Is this also related to drug abuse?
When people set themselves on edge, with psychoactive substances, whether they be narcotic drugs or psychotropic substances, there's a tendency for them to want to venture into, several things. And if you understand the fact that date rapes are related to substance abuse, the influence of drugs, their libido tends to, heighten it somewhat. And what that means is that an increase in libido, and finds a woman who says no, there's a tendency for him to want to apply force. I know a lot of women under the influence of drugs.
Office on Drugs and Crime.
Well, for a lot of reasons. If we take the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are unemployed. If those who were employed, lost their jobs, they are bound to be depressed. A lot of people are not even sure where the next school fees for their children would come from, where their next house rent will come from, where the next money to pay water bill will come from. A lot of people are not sure how they're going to send their children back to school. So you have people, who are suffering from a lot of mood disorder. And mood disorder is a risk factor for substance abuse, just as substance abuse can lead to mood disorder. So such depressive tending to use more and more drugs. And I think that pressure, like younger people who, when they are in the company of their friends, find it sporting arena without the influence of drug. There are those who believe that they can't go up the stage to sing except they have taken some drug, And after a period of time, the body gets so used to it, to the extent where, psychologically you just become so dependent and believe that you just can't do without this drug. So you become biopsychosocially dependent upon the drug. And it's important to mention that there are several neurotransmitters, in the neurosystem. There are about over 40 neurotransmitters in the neurosystem. And most drugs act directly on the central nervous system, CNS. So you have drugs that are, central nervous system stimulants, central nervous system depressants, central nervous system